Block Gemara. Today, Friday's Gemara is Daf Kuf Chaf, and we're continuing to move on. We have less than a month to finish this Masechta. We actually finished the Masechta just a couple of days before Yom Kippur. So we finished the first subject here in our Mishnah. We'll continue going through our Mishnah. Our Mishnah is talking about certain things combined with the flesh of an animal for oichlin in order to make sure it's the full size of an egg. And we said that if they're a shomer, a bone that has marrow inside, different things they combine, but only for tumas eichlin, not for tumas nevela. We learn out of pasuk when it comes to a nevela, the carcass itself, it says beniv lasa. Only the carcass itself it has the shear, which is a kazayis actually. But when it comes to Eichlin, it's a beya, at least transmitting, receiving. We had a machlekes, the rishonim, but they combined with that. And we had a few words there. We're trying now to decipher or interpret what these words are. So we are up to Daf Kuf Chaf Amar Aleph, and the Gemara starts over here with the word v'haraitiv, about 20 lines from the top of the page, the last line, reitiv. You said the reitiv, which is usually translates the gravy. My reitiv, what exactly is the gravy? You say that combines with the flesh to make a beya. Amar Abba shumla. It means literally the fats. Abaye said, "Who atzma yitma tumas eichlin? Fats is food in its own right. Why does it have to combine with the flesh? With the flesh, in itself, with the meat, in itself, is considered food. Elacheliv de kaddish. We're talking about fat, real fats, but solidified, and therefore it's not really food. But we'll combine it with and we're talking about like the fats that oozes out of the meat and then it congeals. So that is combines with the meat to make it a size of an egg. So when I eat a kaddish, why does it have solidify kilo kaddish? Nami, if it's fat that oozed out, even if it didn't solidify, you can combine it with the meat. Like I said, chia the juice, shagaba yerek, it's on top of a vegetable. Mitzdaref lekoseves b'yom hakipurim. On Yom Kippur, you're not permitted to eat. They're not permitted to eat the size of a keseves, which is the size of a dried of a date, a large date, which is more than keseves, less than a bit, but it's the size of a keseves, the size of a large date, and that is, and we combine the tzir. Now, the Tarash has two opinions. What tzir is the juice that comes out of the vegetable itself, or tzir means the juice that you actually cook the vegetable in. But regardless, the point here is that even if it didn't solidify, it's still liquid, it's liquefied, it's still combined when it comes to Kippur with the yerek. You're not allowed to eat the size of a keseves. We combine the liquid. So why shouldn't the same thing be over here as well? So the Gemara. Hossam there. Yom Kippur nothing to do with eating. Yom Kippur has to do with Yisuvi Daituhu. Yom Kippur has to do with, does it sort of soothe you? Does it make you? Does it temper your fast? And then if it does, then you're liable for transgressing this avera of not you should have fasted and you didn't. So therefore, b'chol du miyasvadaitus, even liquid, it combines to sort of calm you down. Hachavim mishum misterufihu. Over here, we're talking about that has to combine. We need a shear when it comes to the size of the food. So eat cut if it's solidified, we'll treat it as food. Mistaref is mistaref, and we eat light cut is mistaref. But if it didn't solidify, it will not combine because this is food. But this is food. But Yom Kippur is very different. Yom Kippur is not a question of eating; it's a question more of leisana. You don't feel the pain. If it calms you down and it takes away the pain, then even this liquid will combine with it as well. Now, why generally don't we say that liquid and food does not combine when it comes to other Yisurim is because the shear for liquid is revius, the shear for an Yisur is a kazayis, so it's two different Shurim. They cannot combine. Says they want to further Hakipa, what in the world is Hakipa? So we have two types. My kippah, Amar Rava, some say it's Rava, is pirma. He says the little pieces that falls to the bottom of the meat. The little piece of meat that falls to the bottom. That is food. Of course, it's matame in its own right. Why does it have to combine? But a papa said tavlin. It means the spices. Nobody eats spices on their own, but when they're part of the meat, and there's certain meat that you can add them to the shear of the meat to work out exactly the amount. We learned over there, hikves adam, if you solidify the blood over the fire, we congeal, ate it, well, you melted down the fats, and you swallowed it, chayv. You turned the fats into liquid, you are chayv. Think about it. You solidify the blood, okay. The king, because it solidified, it became more cautious. On the contrary, we understand why you're chayiv for eating. If you liquefied the fats, you swallowed it, why should we chayiv? It says eating, this is not called eating. Now, even though we have a general rule that shtia is bechlal achil, drinking like eating, but over here it's not really meant to be drank. Fats are meant to be eaten. So the question will be something that's meant to be eaten and you turned it into a liquid. Do we still say that drinking is the same as eating or not? Of course, if it's stam, if it's a liquid and you drank it, then you're not allowed to. Here you changed its form from a solid into a liquid. And you're using it as a liquid when really it should be a solid. How do we deal with that? And you said Yechayiv. How do you know? So we're going to have a number of psukim now for different things. For each one of them, we have a pasuk to tell us that if you liquefied it, so you change its form, we'll treat it like food in your chayv. And we'll wonder why do you need a limit for each one. But let's go through it. We have quite a few. It says in the pasuk, nefesh. It says in the pasuk that anybody eats fats. The nichnas hanefesh. That nefesh, the soul, should be cut off. So we darshan nefesh also means something else. It doesn't only mean the soul; it means what you desire. Nefesh lerabes is hashoisa. It comes to therefore include even someone that drinks, even someone that drinks and makes you feel good. You satisfied your desire. That's a nefesh as well. So Rashi means a pasuk im yeshes nafshechem, if you fulfill your desire. In Chumash Bereshis. Okay, so therefore that's how you know that drinking is included. So that's we know by Chalev. Now we'll learn the same idea by Chametz on Pesach. Let's say you took Chametz and you turned it into a liquid and you swallowed it. In Chametz, so if it's Chametz and there's a question of Chametz, Onish Kodesh, because it's considered as if he ate it. And in Matzi, he didn't eat matzah. I understand it's not bread of affliction, or as Neza says, it's also not eating. And it says you have to eat. Okay. Ella. By chametz says you have to eat, and you're not allowed to eat it. And you drank it, you didn't eat it. So how do you know in this case drinking is chayv? Because remember, again, you changed the substance from a solid into a liquid. The same idea. So the posse by chametz, it says that the nichlas nefesh nefesh l'rabbi l'shoyser. Same idea. Satisfy your desire, you're chayv. Tanami b'link. I've been available in the third place. A bird that was tired that died. You didn't shecht it died. So it's an avela unique that only when you eat it you become tamei. If you touch it, you don't become tamei. But if you ate it, you become tamei. And your clothes have to also go to the mikveh. And so the same question is, if you ate in the Vedas of Torah, or you went ahead and you melted it down in fire, tamei, you're tamei. In other words, you become tamei because drinking is like eating. But the cham, if you melted it down in the sun, tired. So but we try to understand the chilik sibeit. Same question. It says achili eating and you're drinking. Nefesh. Nefesh comes to include even drinking. So the obvious question is, if you tell me nefesh doesn't want you to satisfy yourself, and even though you change the form, the substance, you're still chayiv. So why, if you got heated up in the sun, you're not chayiv? And what's the difference? So we answer simply a very practical reason. By the sun, what happens is you ruined. You didn't cook it up and improve it. You actually ruined it, and that's why you're pater for different reason altogether. It might be a liquid that originally was a substance of solid, but you ruined it. Okay, it became foul. Now, so why do you need three psukim? One by nevela, one by chalev, and one by chametz. The principle is the same. Once you took a solid, you turned to liquid, it's considered a solid, and you're chayiv, where it says don't need it. So why do you need three psukim? Obviously, each one has a chumrah that's not shared by the others, and if we only knew that one, we would not think that the others are chayiv as well. And the Gemara goes through. When you eat when you say fats, I would say chametz. You couldn't learn chametz on treifa fats. Now, what chumrah does treifa fats have over chametz? Treifa fats was never kosher; it was always treif. Chametz till Pesach was kosher, so there's a leniency there. Maybe drinking is different. Nevela also never had a shasa kosher. Nevela la osimine. Why don't you learn nevela from there? Now, nevela. Why doesn't nevela have a shasa kosher? A nevela doesn't have a shasa kosher is because l'chayda it did. while the animal was alive, it wasn't Avela. But while the animal was alive, there was a different issue there, Eva and Achai. And even though we had a whole discussion in the Gemara before whether when a behemoth is alive, is a behemoth basically made up of a whole bunch of Evodim, and therefore there's the Isa Eva and Achai already riding there? Or do we say, no, that's only one animal and one unit and doesn't become Eva and Achai until it dies? But even so, there's another Isa which is called Eina Zavuach. You have a mitzvah say to Shecht, because we had a machlekes Rishonim, where the mitzvah say of Shechting it just eliminates Eva and Achai, or actually it removes the Isser of Eina Zavuach. So we'll say that the animal also never, from the Gemara here it seems, the animal never had a Shasa Kosher. Or at least in its, the third answer is, in its current state, which is an Avela, it has no Shas HaKosher, because as an Avela, in this mitzvah, an Avela, no kosher. It was alive in a different life, different entity. Okay, then I'm going to go further. Nevela. So why can't you learn Nevela from Chametz? She can onush korus, because by Chaylev you get korus, and Nevela you don't. So maybe because it's so much more lenient, it's different. So because I'm on a Chametz, let us say only by Chametz, I couldn't learn the Chaylev or Nevela. Each one of them has the leniency of a Chametz. What is that? Chaylev, you cannot learn Chaylev from the Chaylev. There's a certain leniency by Chaylev that says maybe the drink is, if you turn it into liquid, is mutter. What leniency does Chaylev have? You get korus, never had a Shas HaKosher. You know what the leniency is? There's never a chance to say that that Chaylev becomes mutter. The Chaylev is always us. No, but Chametz, sorry. Chaylev, as we'll see more later, by a chaya, let's say by a deer, you're allowed to eat its chaylev. Only by behemoth I'll eat the chaylev, or by a bird. And because chaylev is not a because chaylev is, what do you call it? Is hutim miklal chametz pesach. There's no exception. It's also, but chaylev is an exception. If it's by a chaya, so therefore it's a leniency. You can learn from chametz. Then the asked me, why can't I learn from chametz? And the chaylev is very strict, because chametz it was it had a shas hechsher, but nevela never had a shas hechsher. Can only sorry, nevela la asivnei. Sorry. Why can't you learn nevela from chametz? Chametz has a chumrah that nevela doesn't have. What leniency does nevela have that chametz doesn't have? Chametz the punishment. That's why it's very strict. So let's just about nevela, which is the most lenient of them all. Because on nevela, you couldn't learn the others from it. Why? You came in tam. Nevela the chumrah. If you touch nevela, you become tamei. You touch chametz, you don't become tamei. You touch chaylev, you don't become chametz tamei. Okay, so I'll grant you that you can learn one from the other one, or but to learn one from two. That you want a high taste. Which one do you want to learn from the other two? Are you telling me don't write anything by Nevela and I'll learn from the other two? No, Nevela has a leniency the others don't have. That maybe Nevela it should be easier. What leniency does Nevela have the others don't have? Because if Nevela can honest cutters, almost get cutters. You don't get cutters from Nevela, so you can't learn from them. Okay, Loi. Don't write by chametz. Don't write by chametz. I learn from the others. Right? Malahanach, there's a chumrah the other two have, and that is that never had a shas kosher. Nevela never had a time that is permitted, as we explained before, and